Okay. Have a name?
She's got the weapon.
I am calling this meeting of the Big Bear Area Regional Wastewater Agency, a regular meeting, September 24, 2025 at 5 p.m. Call to order. Could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and John Russo has agreed to lead us in that.
Okay, what would we? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, John.
Okay.
All right, I'm looking for an approval of the agenda for this meeting. Does anybody here?
I'll move. Second.
Okay, did you get that?
Russo.
Walsh.
Okay,
Okay.
Vice Chair Walsh,
Aye.
Director Sauer,
Aye.
Director Russo,
Aye.
and Chair Segovia.
Aye. All right, public forum. Public testimony is permitted at this time on the following sections of the agenda: presentation and introduction, information and committee reports, consent calendar, and any other matters within the agency's subject matter jurisdiction that are not included on the posted agenda. Each speaker is allotted a maximum of 3 minutes to address the governing board during this public forum. Public testimony on non-agenda items shall be limited to 30 minutes for all speakers. Please note that the state law prohibits the agency from taking action on matters not listed on the posted agenda. For items on the posted agenda, public testimony will be taken prior to the governing board's deliberation of each item. Each speaker will be allotted a maximum of 3 minutes per item. Do we have any public comment?
I don't have any cards, but
Anybody? All right. And then moving forward to presentation and introduction, Andrew Sauer, San Bernardino County appointment to governing board. David.
I just wanted to welcome Andrew Sauer to the appointment, and congratulations to being appointed to our board. We look forward to working with you. I know we've met more recently to go over your role here at the agency, but I'm really looking forward to working with you. So thank you for joining us, and we really look forward to a long future with you.
I look forward to it as well. Thank you.
Thanks. Larry, do you have anything to say? No? I just want to say I enjoyed our conversation that we had, and you know, my door is open, so it's no good say. And I'm interested in talking some more.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. All right, so we will move on to information and committee reports, general manager's report.
There's no real highlights. The only thing I wanted to mention, I don't know if you saw, but in the flow coming from the city and CSD, the flow is about equal now. As this time of year, it's pretty common for the city and CSD to have about equal flow. And I just wanted to point that out. Other than that, I'm open for any questions with regard to the general manager's report.
Do any board members have any questions on that? No? Well, that was nice to see that.
Yeah, it's a very common occurrence this time of year.
I did think about you in the rain the other day.
Oh, look at that. Well, I mean, definitely with the replacement of the line, the force main, that was a kind of a tenuous moment, more for me. John was like, yeah, whatever, but for me, because the line from the.
Yeah, everything.
The line coming from the city was shut down for the period, it was like about 5 days,
Right,
and so got my attention.
Yeah.
Really, we're gonna have this much
Yeah.
rain,
yeah, it was a lot.
but we're back up and running now, so.
All right, moving on to Replenish Big Bear report.
So the only thing that I wanted to highlight in here is that, yesterday I attended the water reuse conference. And presented the Replenish Big Bear project, to probably about 100 people there. With a lot of people with similar projects, and talked a little bit about some of the challenges that we've had, some of the things that we've accomplished over the last 9 years, and got a lot of great questions, and it was well received, so. And that's all the actual input about other than what's in the general manager, in the manager's report for Replenish Big Bear, but open for any questions.
Any questions from the board? No? All right, moving on to consent calendar. All matters listed on the consent calendar will be enacted by one motion at the appropriate time. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If a detailed discussion is necessary, the governing board member may request that an item be removed from the consent calendar and considered separately. Do we have any questions from anybody on that, or does anybody want to pull an item? No? Okay. All right, then, roll call, please.
Motion is.
Oh, sorry, a motion. Sorry, skip ahead of that. Second? All set. Okay, Larry, second. All right, and roll call, please.
Vice Chair Walsh,
Aye.
Chair Segovia,
Aye.
Director Russo,
Aye.
and Director Sauer.
All right. So we have no old business. And moving on to new business. Item A, amendment number 3 to the payment and collection of total annual charge and standby charges agreement. Bridget.
Okay, so this is amendment number 3 to the payment and collection agreement, which is the payment schedule for the total annual charges and the standby charges from our member agencies. The only item that's changing for amendment number 3 is to extend the agreement until 2031. Your member agencies and legal counsels have reviewed this amendment, and so staff is requesting approval from the governing board.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Well, all right. Oh, you have not. Oh, okay. Well, I thought you were gonna have a question. All right, so that was quick.
Public
And, huh?
Public comment.
Yeah, let's see, anybody here want to make any public comment on the payment collection? So, all right, anybody on the board, nothing, anything? Okay, could I have a motion and a second? I'll make the motion. Second. Okay,
Walsh with the second.
yeah, I think he squeaked out, so, okay, roll call, please.
Chair Segovia,
Aye.
Director Russo,
Aye.
Director Sauer, and Vice Chair Walsh.
Aye.
All right, moving on to item B, resolution number R 13-2025, a resolution of the Big Bear Area Regional Wastewater Agency approving the transfer of the agency's 457B and 401A plans to a new trustee custodian. David.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna let Sonia take this, if you want to.
Thank you. The BARWA established a 457 deferred compensation plan for the employees in 1997 with Lincoln Financial Group. And then we also established a 401A for employer matching contribution in 2024. Both of those plans use the Lincoln Life multi-fund annuity as the platform. We've had it a long time, and there's been kind of a decline in self-service, and it's just an older platform, and it's kind of cumbersome to work through it. Our financial representative with Lincoln advised us to maybe go out and shop other trustees, record keepers, they're called. And he was able to get 2 quotes. We reviewed those quotes, we researched the companies, and everything looked very positive. We had good feedback for it with Empower. And we would like to transfer the planned assets for the 457 and the 401A to Empower as the trustee custodian of the plan.
Thank you. Great, any questions? Hey, Larry?
Did we give them, Lincoln, the opportunity to either drop their rates or improve their performance, or?
I'm sorry.
Yes, we did. Yeah, whether we gave them an opportunity to bid on the.
Yes,
work as well.
yes. In fact, one of the other quotes we received was from a different Lincoln product, Lincoln Alliance, but it was still more expensive and than the Empower, and we really couldn't find any comparable to how it works for the plan holders, the employees. That's kind of the main goal, make it easy for the employees to use the plan and access their funds and make changes, and right now it's very cumbersome.
Any other questions? I'm not a good note, I have heard of Empower. I don't do business with them, but I've heard of it, so. All right, any public comment on this item? No, all right, I'm looking, oh, okay, Tom.
I don't really have too much of a comment because I just got home from, well, whatever. I just want to say a couple things. The other thing is I really want to see what you guys are going to say today, and that's pretty much what I'm here for today, not to really speed. But anyway, from what I understand, if this does go on, this is going to end up costing thousands and thousands of dollars more for BBK. It's going to cost thousands and thousands of dollars more for attorneys. And who's going to pay for that? We are. We the people are going to pay for that. Not you. Well, you're going to because you pay taxes. But anyway, so there's that. Then that's really one of the main things. From what I understand is that BBK charged $60,000 for 3 months of work. $60,000. I make that in a day. I'm just kidding you. I don't make that. I don't. Anyway, who could even imagine that? One thing I do want to bring up is that in the Grizzly paper was one of the best days I've ever read. Had, and I wrote this to you guys, and I said this that day. Hats off to the people of the Big Bear Valley that said no to BBARWA, which it was voted 3 out of 5, which is 3-2. No, okay, that means no. That doesn't mean you just go ahead and screw around for the rest of your life and decide and start to try to get people to say things that they don't even wait for in the first place. And anyway. No BBARWA, water project, the water replenish project. Anyway, we can't tolerate, a lot of us can't tolerate the relentless browbeating that Rick Herrick, well, Jim Miller really didn't, because I really like Jim Miller, and he's out of here, and there's a reason he's out of here, is because he couldn't stand working with you guys. But then, of course, David was relentless for the water replenish project, which is it's crap. This water aquifer has been working for 300,000 and thousands of years. So why are you going to be able to destroy that? We can still drink fresh, clean water. We ride our mountain bikes just to go up and drink the water. It's not going to be there anymore when you get done with this. And then here's another thing. I'm going to run home and make a bunch of these copies for you. I just happened to print this when I got home because I didn't want to have something to say. Pharmaceutical compounds, disrupting chemicals and other contaminants of emergency concern. That's what you're going to be doing. The Safe Drinking Water Act, the SDWA, which requires that all water intended for human consumption meet stringent health standards. Oh, and I'm sure you beat those. The Clean Water Act, the CWA, which provides the discharge of pollutions into the United States water without accurate projection of the design's use. Relevant EPA and California Water Resources controlled water regulations, period. And they've got to do that. Right down here, this is a good one. If BBARWA proceeds with this procedure, it's fine. its known inability to meet the standards, you and the agents will be held illegally you will be, illegally accountable. Okay, I'm done.
Okay,
I
thank
see
you,
my
Tom.
3 minutes. You know what that means to me? Absolutely nothing, because I'll say whatever the heck I want as long as I want. Call the cops, please.
Thank you,
Please
Tom.
call them.
All right, I'm gonna bring it back to the board. Do we have any discussion? No? All right, I'm looking for a motion in a second on this item.
Motion.
Okay, Andrew. Okay, Russo. Roll call, please.
Director Sauer,
Aye.
Director Russo,
Aye.
Vice Chair Walsh,
What motion are we voting on?
We're voting on the.
10B.
and be the 457B and 401A plans,
Just.
Yeah.
So just keep voting.
Aye.
and Chair Segovia.
Aye.
There you go.
All right.
Thank you.
Item number C. Appointment of governing board member to represent BARWA on the Bear Valley Basin Groundwater Sustainability Agency Board of Directors. That's a mouthful. Bridget.
Due to Jim Miller's resignation, we do need to appoint a governing board member to represent BARWA on the GSA board. When we first joined the GSA, the governing board had a discussion about fair representation, and since the city already has representation through DWP and CSD already has a member on there, it was decided that our county board member would be the representative, so staff is recommending to appoint Director Sauer to the GSA board.
All right. Any questions? Larry? Oh. Okay. All right, do we have any public comment on this item? No? All right, I will make a motion that we appoint Director Sauer to the board. I'm looking for a second.
Second.
Okay, Larry. Roll call, please.
Vice Chair Walsh,
Aye.
Director Russo,
Aye.
Chair Segovia,
Aye.
and Director Sauer.
All right, congratulations. You not have a really long winded today. Just called the USA.
Love it.
The look on your face was priceless.
What?
All right, interim appointment of governing board members to finance and operation committees. Bridget.
The board has 3 permanent committees that have 2 board members appointed to each. Due to Jim Miller's resignation, we have vacancies on the finance and operations committees. So we are requesting that the governing board appoint a different member to the finance and operations committees in the interim until our March reorganization.
And who's on that committee now? Lisa?
Director Herrick is on the finance committee and Director Russo is on the operations committee. So typically we have different member agencies on each of those boards for fair representation, but it's up to the board to decide who they want to appoint.
All right. Oh, I thought Larry's hand, but no, you're not. Nope. All right, any questions right now? No? Any public comment? No? All right, bringing it back to the board.
I'm happy to volunteer for the finance and operations committee.
All right. Twist my arm, why don't you? All right, could I have a motion and a second for that? Okay,
He doesn't before he changes his mind.
yeah.
So Walsh for the motion, Russo for the second?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, roll call.
Director Russo, Vice Chair Walsh,
Aye.
Director Sauer,
Aye.
and Chair Segovia.
I'm actually really happy to see you do that just because it'll help you get immersed, so that's great. Yeah, thank you. All right, moving on to item E. Cancel or continue the Replenish Big Bear project. David.
Yes, so I had 2 of my board members request that I place this on the agenda. In light of with the meeting on August 27th, the Water and Infrastructure Loan Act was presented to the governing board. 3 of the, well, actually, that motion did not pass to move forward with the WIFIA loan. In light of that, and in light of their request, I put this on the agenda for the board to have a discussion with regard to the Replenish Big Bear project and give staff direction on where they would like to head with it.
Okay, all right,
So
is that,
that's it.
okay. All right, Larry has his hand up.
Under recommendations, 1 or 2, they sound the same. What am I missing?
One is to cancel the project. And one is to cancel the project. And complete the preliminary design report and present the financial impact at a future meeting. So that's the financial impact of canceling the project. And then number 2 would be to continue the project as it is going right now and finish final design. Those are the 2 options.
Because as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, there is a difference between the preliminary and final.
Right, the preliminary design report, which is the PDR, that was scheduled to be presented to the board in October. So we would recommend finishing that work so that, because that's a deliverable to the granting agencies. And then present back at a future meeting, and we wouldn't be able to do that in October, but present back the financial impact of canceling the project. So the whole idea of 1 is to cancel the project, and the whole idea of 2 is to continue as currently directed.
Which could take up to a year.
The design the design itself will take a year, but you're talking about the preliminary design report?
No, I think,
Last meeting, you said that to finish it would take another year.
To finish the design of the actual project will take approximately about a year from now. We'll be finished with the full design of the project. The preliminary design report is scheduled to be complete next month.
The preliminary.
Yes. Which basically lays out the proposed treatment train and an updated cost estimate and and everything that goes along with that.
And Friday, you sent out an email. Which I
Yes.
assume the whole board got,
Yes,
saying that discussions with Water Systems put the potential price tag now at $90 to $100 million.
that's correct.
And the most recent numbers prior to that was 86.7 million, so 90 is not a big stretch. But if we go back to 7 or 8 years ago when this all started, the cost was 40, so at 100 million, we're talking 150% increase in the cost of the project over its development.
Yeah, so the original estimate back in 9 years ago or so, it was $44 million, but that was of course, a preliminary number before we started talking about the actual treatment train that was then further directed by the regional board. And then it also didn't include, that was the construction cost estimate at the time. That didn't include all of the other work that has to go along with it. So it was a very preliminary number for construction at that moment. And again, 9 years later now, we have obviously better information, and we're including the total project cost in that $90 to $100 million number, which the other one was just specifically construction for that at that period.
But we still don't know for sure how much it'll cost.
Yes, the only way to know, and we've talked about this in the past, the only way to really know is to finish the design and actually bid the project. You can finish the design and bid the project. All of the design work is paid for by grants. You can finish that work and move forward and bid the project and get an actual number and then decide to move forward or not on the project.
I know John wanted to say something.
Yeah, I too am confused on 1 and 2, and I mean, I wanted to, especially the fact that we got sent, and now it's up to $100 million.
Right.
And as I think some of us, or at least one person said, that things don't go down in price, they go up. And I don't see where in a year when this, if we go through all this stuff, it's gonna be any cheaper, it's probably gonna be more. And I wanna just hear you say, we're gonna stop this thing or we're not gonna stop this thing. 'Cause I'm confused as to which one of those two. To me, it does sound the same. We didn't even talk about it. It's like, I said, yeah, when he said that, it's like, I'm confused on that too. I wanna hear you say either it's done or it's not done.
Okay, so
Because now it's 100 million, which is like 10 more, 11 more than it's supposed to be, and I'm sure it's not gonna get cheaper.
Right. So the recommendations for the board to take, the recommended action for the board to take. Number one, cancels the project. Finishes the preliminary design report because it's a deliverable for the grant. Cancels the project, finishes that design report, which like we are days away from completing. And I then come back to you with the financial impact of that cancellation. Okay, so that's what number one does. Number two does nothing to the project. We move forward and we finish the design work. And then the board can decide it wants to bid the project. The board can decide whether they want to bid the project and get an actual number to complete the actual construction of the project itself. So one is cancel, two is continue.
So I think one, you could just put a stop sign there. Stop, I think that's what you want to know, like cancel, stop. And number two, is moving forward to the final design, which in my mind is like getting a set of blueprints that you could look at and you know how much, and I know you guys have heard me say this before, how much that house that you want to build is gonna cost you. And I'm like a facts person, I would like for the community to also know, like what that figure is gonna be. And I feel like right now, I don't have all of the information that I need, to make a decision. And also what the ramifications are on our agencies, like, I don't want to say, yeah, put the stop sign on that, and then we find out we have some big ramification over both agencies, or all three areas. So, anyway, anything else, Larry?
I don't remember now, it was August or maybe before that, that you wanted to advance through the design phase. Because that would mean we don't have to pay that grant back. And the term deliverable was just used, which to me sounds like we are at the point where we have a deliverable. Do we or not?
So we, the PDR is a deliverable in the grant,
Okay.
right? So they're very specific pieces in the grant documents that are specified in the grant documents on deliverables. The PDR is a deliverable in the grant documents. The actual final design is a deliverable in the grant documents. So when I speak about deliverables, there are, deliverables in that grant document, and that's what I am saying to you, is that the PDR is one of those.
But then step one does not mean we're free of having to pay that grant back.
The documents that we have for grants, the grant documents that the board considered and authorized us to sign, me to sign, say that we have, if we don't complete the project, that we have to, I think it's complete the project, that we have to pay that money back. That's what it says. Now, again, I still think that's negotiable. But until the board says, stop, we're not doing this anymore, I want you to go figure that out. And and let the grant agencies know that we're not accepting the rest of the grant money, and this is where we're stopping. That's when I would be going back to them and asking them, okay, do I owe you any money? Here's my deliverables. what do I owe you to get out of this, get out of the rest of the grant? Does that make sense, Larry?
Well, actually, it changes what I thought you said before, which was come up with the design phase, we don't have to pay 3.96 million back?
If we finish the design.
Yeah.
If we finish the design, that's a deliverable. Right? That we have the grants that we're using right now, that was part of the deliverable for that grant.
Right, is,
I doubt they would, if we met our deliverables for that grant, there is some construction money in there as well. Again, it's been 7 or 8 years since but I believe there's construction money in there as well. Obviously, we wouldn't be asking for that construction money because we didn't construct anything yet. But all the deliverables for the design would be complete. We would deliver that and then negotiate the closure of that grant should we not move forward and ask that, we want to complete our design, we're not moving forward. Here's the completed documents that we had for design. And I think that is conceivable that we could, likely negotiate out of the balance of that and having to pay that back. But again, I would have to get that direction from the board to go do that. And I'm not telling people we're getting out of it until the majority of the board tells me to go do that.
Okay, but in the lead up to those comments, it sounded like you were saying that if we don't complete the entire project, we would have to pay this back. Two different things?
And again, I have to read the exact verbiage in the IRWM grant. If the verbiage in there says the deliverable or the end or completing of construction of the project itself. I think the grant was definitely written with the idea in mind that it would pay for the design of the project and a little bit of construction. I think the construction was the water line that goes to Stanfield Marsh. I think that was what was in the original grant for $5 million. Again, I think it's negotiable, but I don't recall exactly. I wouldn't be able to tell you at this moment what exactly the verbiage says. And then, of course, it is, I think that's a negotiating point with the grant agencies. Whether we could end it there, and I believe we can.
I would say that I understand and agree with Candy's position that she wants facts and details. The problem is, this also smacks of Nancy Pelosi saying, we have to vote something in order to find out what's in it. Because you can't tell us the numbers and you can't tell us what has to be paid back at the moment.
I mean, you're 100% correct. I can't tell you that we entered into a grant agreement. The grant agreement says one thing, it says this is part of the grant agreement says this is what you'll do, right? I mean, the board took action, authorized us to get into these grant agreements. We move forward and doing that exactly as we were directed to do. And I can't tell you whether with certainty, whether we would have to pay it back or not until I got direction to cancel the project and let the grant agency know that we're not moving forward and let them know that, find out what we would have to pay back.
But when you file for these grants, isn't it like a contract where you say, this is what we're gonna do, this is why you want the money, and they say yes and get the money, provided this is what you do?
That's correct.
Isn't that all in the agreement?
That is all in the agreement, 100%.
And I don't understand why we can't say, what the impact would be. That's all.
I mean, we have drawn to date $3.6 million from those grants,
All grants are just this
all grants.
engineer, okay?
All grants, that's what we paid out to date for this preliminary design. That's what we've been reimbursed to date is $3.6 million. If I went with your scenario, that I could not negotiate something different, we would be responsible for $3.6 million. We have spent to date over 6 million. But what we've been reimbursed by the grants is 3.6.
And do we have, because I know there's a difference between the final design and the preliminary design. We also have grant for the final design,
Yes,
so we could get it to that blueprint that I'm talking about.
yes.
Again, I just feel like it's good governance for our agencies to make sure we know, what we're getting into as far as owing money.
And I agree, except that I also remember that Mr. Russo asked a year ago for numbers, which we still don't have, and we're still in this limbo of not knowing exactly what has to be paid back. And I'd say at worst case scenario, what would we have to pay back at this moment if we put the state in the heart of the thing?
$3.6 million is what we've gotten. $3.6 million is what we've gotten back from the granting agencies. Assuming we had to pay back every dollar, I would assume the $3.6 million is a true number for that.
Okay.
We would still, that is 100%. Now, I have contracts still that I would have to get out of with the consulting agents, the consulting group. So so far we've spent on design roughly 600 and something,
630,000.
630,000 out of the 3.8 million. So I'd have to get out of that contract as well. And then any other contracts, any other details that I'd have to get out of.
Right, because you moved forward, and I believe probably most of this happened before even I was on the board. You were moving forward and making contracts based off of the fact you'd been given direction to move forward by the board. Also, much like the Whiffy loan.
That's correct, 100%. I mean, I had a 5-0 vote to award a design contract for the design of this project. And so that's what I've had 5-0 votes for the grants, entering into the grant agreements. I've had 5-0 votes for the design. I've had, I mean, I could count and tell you how many, but I've had a lot of, I would say the last 14 months or so, that's when the voting started to differ. But before that, everybody stood behind this project and voted in favor of it.
Anybody else? I'm gonna take some public comment unless you want to say something right now. Which I'm not cutting you off, so.
Let's hear the public comment.
Okay. Do we have,
Was that a yes or a no?
we're taking public comment right now on this item.
Okay, public comment.
Okay.
I don't have any problems.
Okay.
Okay, sure, let's see here. Okay, so basically, right now we have one definite no. We have one, I don't know. And we have another Walsh right here, and I guess that's a maybe. Or is that a yes or is that a no?
I always keep an open mind.
Okay, so you're keeping it open, so that's a maybe. So we have one definite no and two maybes.
Do this.
Okay, so what are gonna be the ramifications of this, okay? $4 million, okay, that is nothing compared to the 200 million, I don't care what you say it's gonna cost. It's gonna cost 200 million to do this project. I have done too many jobs in my lifetime. Okay, so.
Was that a bid?
So you're talking about $4 million? What happened to the $6 million that Obernolte was gonna give you for changing your mind? What happened to that $6 million? Who spent that? Where did it come
I
from?
mean, that 6 million,
What
whatever that figure
Did you
is,
guys
that
have it?
was also done before I was on the board, right? I mean, that was,
I understand that it was offered to everybody here, $6 million anyway, so that's a bunch of bullshit right there. Okay, this is another thing. You had 9 years to put this on the ballot so that we, the people, can actually vote. The ones that are gonna be paying for this, we wanna vote. We wanna see this on the ballot. It's bullshit. You guys can't just go ahead, oh, we're gonna spend $200 million. Oh, yeah, okay, well, just go jack off of that anyway, who cares? I'm sorry I said that. Okay, grants are useless, okay? And what are we gonna get out of this? I hear 2 to 4 inches of gained water. It evaporates in one day, 2 to 4 inches every day. So we're gonna gain 1, 2 inches of water, 4 inches of water, it's bullshit. This is all about governmental control and controlling our infrastructure, period. That is what all of this is about, controlling the infrastructure, period. I don't think anybody really knows what's going on in the world right now. But pay attention to what's going on in the world right now, because they're making all the decisions, and they've already been made, period. Bullshit, anyway. If I forgot something, I'll remember it later.
anybody else, public?
My name is Randy Kilbrand. I would like to advocate for replenishment there. We have more and more people in the valley that make more and more water. And we are unable to send it down the hill anymore, without costing us money. In my mind, it makes sense to keep the water that we get here rather than shipping it off. I understand that the water quality has to be equal to drinking water that will be going into the lake. And I think that that is fine. I hear and understand the gentleman's concerns about antibiotics and other hormonal changing things that can slip through systems, and I'm not sure how the system that's being proposed would handle that, if at all. But I think that that's a small price to pay for having water stay in our valley. And I don't care personally, you know, whether it adds 2 inches or 2 feet of water to the lake. I just, it doesn't make rational sense to me to continue doing what we have been doing. And I was here for the last time that this came up, whether we should stop now or continue. And I believe at that time, the decision was made that we should get to the next deliverable, which is a set of blueprints that we can put a number on. Because without a set of blueprints that we can put a number on, we're just spitting in the wind. We're guessing. We don't know what it's going to cost. We get to blueprints, then we can find out what it's really going to cost and make a rational decision at that point. And yes, if we decide to pull the plug then, we will lose some money. But if we decide to continue, then we continue. And again, I thought that this had been already established.
Thank you. Okay. Sean Sullivan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Sean Sullivan. I am a resident of Big Bear City. For full transparency, I'm also employed by the city of Big Bear Lake. Bear with me, I'm usually accustomed to sitting at this table rather than standing here. I appreciate the question or the concern of whether we should proceed with Replenish Big Bear or not. But I think the question we should be asking at this time is, what do the grants cover? What can we get delivered out of this that does not cost this agency and hence the taxpayers any further money? If the grants will pay for the design, and if we complete the design at no cost to this agency, then you have a complete package, a complete design that you can choose to advance the project. You can choose to put it on the shelf. You can choose to reconsider it years down the road, choose to never consider it again. But if you complete that design, you have a tangible for it. As my understanding, and not fully understanding much, trying to understand the situation, based on the grant, they offer money to complete a process. If you don't complete the process, you're stuck paying for it. So my concern here is that if we jettison the design, we don't complete it, A, we have nothing to show for it, but further B, we're stuck with the bill of paying back the money that's been encumbered. So I think the question at this very moment is not so much the future of Replenish, it's what is the most economically viable way to complete the work that is underway without exposing the agency any further financially. We can get the design, which my understanding is it costs us nothing, it's completed through grants. Get that done, get the grant, recognize the grant, take the money that someone is offering to pay for this work that benefits the valley, make the decision later as to whether or not we do something with that design or not. But if the design costs us nothing, we'd be foolish to not complete it and have something to show for it. If we choose not to go forward with the design, we end up with a bill for services rendered that are incomplete, we just look foolish. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to speak?
My name is Marta Healy, and I have learned as much as possible about this, and I think we should move forward and get the put it out there as soon as possible. I think we've had numerous years. If we'd done this back several years ago, it would have been less expensive. Many other cities in California are doing this. As far as I know, we've sent something like 60 billion gallons of water since 1980, 60 billion gallons of water. In the past 40 years, our average annual rainfall has declined about 22%. So this is not just happening to Big Bear, it's happening to many places throughout the world. Droughts are increasing, but I've seen it in the past 20 years. And I think that we can embrace progress, or we can just, retract because of fear. And I would like to embrace progress. It's not about how many inches are added to the lake, it's about water security. I want to know that if I want to sell my home in 20 years so that I can pay for a nursing home or assisted living for myself, I want my house to have retained its value. And if we're having a risk of our groundwater not being able to supply water to the existing residents, what's that going to do to my property value? But I also care about future generations. I want the economy to be strong in Big Bear, and I think we need to have water security for a strong economy. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Can I talk again?
Sorry, Tom, as much as I like you, Tom.
If I wanted to, I would, but I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna bring it back to the board. Any other input? I mean, I know I have something I need to say.
Go ahead.
All right, okay. I know that, a few years ago, my husband and I were looking at a piece of property that had a set of plans for a house on it. And the plans were already, I don't know, they were like 8 years old or something. And, we knew if we bought that, we were gonna get the set of plans. It was a set of approved plans. But we also knew that there would potentially be changes that we would, have to make to it for it to be right up to code. And I just, somebody sent me a design plan for a water project. It was a constituent sent me this design project for a water sustainability project in San Juan. And it was like, it's super fascinating. In fact, it's so fascinating, I'm gonna send it to Bridget so she can look at it. And they, got it to their design, and you can literally see what the project's gonna look like, how much items are. It's an itemized thing that, I'm gonna like really dumb this down, but. If there was an extra little planter, you could like say, no, we're gonna scratch that out. So it was just fascinating to me that it was so detailed in how much things were gonna cost. And this was 2017. I'm assuming they moved forward with it, but I don't know for a fact, but it was just cool that this thing from 2017, is still out there and you can like totally read about it. So, and then, my second thing would be that if we did, just say we didn't move forward with the project and we have that set of plans on our shelf and there's like a whole new board here 10 years from now or whatever, possibly the state could come in and tell us we have to do something, right? And we could take those plans out, dust them off and see if it falls within the parameters of what the state mandate could possibly be. Okay, Larry.
As I understand what's been presented. To be able to determine a price, we need to go to bid. And you would need the completed design, full design, not just preliminary. Well, we can't go out to bid unless we have a loan. We don't have a loan, so we still won't be able to get a price. Over time, we've had people come to speak to the board. Comment was made, it's a no-brainer. I would say, I disagree, there are a lot of things to consider. We had a gentleman come up to the podium and say that Kendi was too stupid to make decisions. I thoroughly disagree. I know that she has taken the time to read the 4,000 or 5,000 pages of the environmental impact report. Whereas the person making that comment also made comments would suggest they hadn't read the preliminary EIR or finished one for that matter. And that perhaps they didn't understand what this has entailed over time. We were initially told that this would drought-proof the valley. Well, our own consultants acknowledged that it cannot. And you don't have to be an engineer to understand that as drought conditions take hold, both the DWP and the CSD will tell our customers to cut back water use. Less water in the house means less flushed out to the plant, therefore less to be able to make reclaimed water. And so it's a downward spiral. It cannot drought proof the valley. It was also said that this would help keep the lake full. Well, Reggie Lamson from the DWP, who Mr. Lawrence says is the brains behind this whole project, acknowledged in a meeting that he didn't know that he could support the numbers that were being used as to how much of a lake increase this could actually produce, anywhere from 4 feet to 4 inches. Over time, DWP will tell you average 10,600 acre feet a year evaporating. If we're going to produce 2,200 acre feet, we can't keep up with that. We're talking about putting 500 acre feet into replenishing our water table. That was the letter from Supervisor Rao that Miller read. She said how important it was. And almost everybody who has come to speak has said they are in favor of keeping the water in the valley, although some will say they didn't realize how many things had not been addressed, or they didn't realize it was going to cost so much, whatever. They generally agreed, yes, keep the water in the valley. If we treat this water and put 500 acre feet back into the ground table, the other 1,700 is scheduled to go in the lake, where it can evaporate at up to 4 inches a day. And we will have simply contributed some very expensive, very clean water in the lake for it to either boil away in the sun or blow away in the wind. In the end, we have not kept the water in the valley for very long. There's a lot of moving parts. The numbers change, the stories change. I think it's safe to say it can be more than a little confusing as to what's going on. But based on the last numbers, I asked Christine one night, caught her flat-footed, and Mr. Lawrence contributed. I said, raising the rates for 5 years was supposed to bring in how much money for Replenish? And Mr. Lawrence said 14 million. Well, if those rate increases will bring in 14 million, and we've already spent 6, then I feel comfortable that we have the money to pay back, even if we have to pay back all of the grants. I know that some people, as soon as we started talking that this may not go through, they demanded their money back. Well, if we have to pay money back, those rate increases should be able to do that for us. So it will not leave the agency exposed to debt it can't cover. The charts in our proposal suggest that growth versus water supply will not become critical until 2065, 40 years away.
Yeah.
So instead of rushing into something that only puts a small portion back on the ground table at a horrendous price, I think we need to reevaluate what has gone on. Mr. Herrick expressed great frustration that, yes, up until about 2 years ago, I'd say more like 3, everybody seemed to be in agreement that this was an excellent project and we should commit ourselves to borrowing 52 million and pay it off over the next 35 years.
More than that.
I think that has changed. And maybe tomorrow I'll get new numbers. But right now, I'm sorry, this is not fiscally responsible.
Anybody, any other board member? Oh,
Public comment is done.
yeah, our public, I'm sorry, our public comment is closed.
Can I ask a question?
Just ask it.
Yeah, ask it.
Why is it that the totality of the water can't go back into the water table instead of the lake?
Do you want me to answer?
We're not supposed to chit chat back and forth, so staff can answer
Yeah,
that.
we'll ask David to answer that question.
So, overall, we generate about 2 million gallons a day. There is, opportunities for all the water to go into the, various locations throughout the valley to recharge the aquifer in totality if the board chose that method instead of putting into the lake. I would, however, note that many of the grants were written with putting water into the lake. So we would, we might have to contact the granting agencies, letting them know that we're choosing to do a different method of recharging, but and we'd have to investigate that part. But there is opportunity to do that. That scenario was looked at in the past. Way back in 2017, when the original report was developed, this concept of putting some of the water in the lake and then some of it to recharge the aquifer was put forward to the board at that time, and they chose to do that, which is a portion to the lake and a portion to recharging aquifer. I will tell you, CSD has been approached about developing their own spreading ground and having that opportunity to spread water into the aquifer in their own spreading ground. They are welcome to do that, and welcome to take that opportunity. And there's, obviously more than 500 acre feet is available for them to recharge the aquifers in their area. So there's lots of opportunity. And if the board wanted to discuss other methods of what to do with the water, obviously we would, work with the board to figure out what they felt like the best and most beneficial use of the water is for our valley.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
All right, any other comments from board members? All right,
I'll make a quick comment.
Okay.
I, of course, joined this board. My orientation was like 2 days ago, so I'm still getting up to speed on this whole project. And can you hear me now? Nothing? You're talking like this. I'm sorry, I just. No, it's okay.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
My orientation was 2 days ago, so I'm still getting up to speed on just about everything when it comes to this project. At the moment, I do not feel like I have an informed decision around this due to just lack of information on my part. So I feel as though it's appropriate to like make a motion to reconvene when the full board is here and discuss better numbers.
Spend thousands and thousands of dollars.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Okay.
Was that a formal motion?
Yeah, formal motion, sure.
Is there like a timeline that, I mean, is it something you want brought back like next month or?
I will unfortunately, due to previous obligations, not here next month, but the following months, I will be around.
It would be good for staff to know.
Can I clarify that motion with you, just so I have it right? So you want to reconvene at a later date with the full board to discuss better numbers? Can you elaborate on what better numbers are? What are you
Essentially,
looking
just
for?
like the breakdown of canceling versus continuing.
Is that attainable, realistic?
I mean, just so that we're clear on in contacting the grant agencies with regard to this, since we've been here before and you're not aware of that. The granting agencies were not willing to weigh in whether we would have to pay the money back and how much it would be.
I see.
Unless we tell them that we're canceling. So what we can do is just like the number I gave Mr. Walsh, and I have provided to the board in the past, what we've spent on the grant, what our exposure is. I can provide that number to you as well. Right now, I think I've told everybody what we've received back from the grants is $3.6 million. And I have a $3.8 million contract I would have to get myself out of. I can provide those kind of numbers, rough estimates on that.
And you said you've spent a total of about 6, right? Isn't that what you said earlier? You said
The $3.6 million is what we received back from the grants so far.
Mhm.
Of the $3.8 million WSC contract for design, we've spent about $630,000 to date. And again, on the design of the project. Happy to provide those numbers. We do there is a breakdown in the Replenish Big Bear report on what we spent to date and that kind of stuff, because the board has asked us to provide an ongoing tally of what we spent to what we've gotten reimbursed. And we try and do that because we want everybody to be informed and to have no misunderstanding exactly what the numbers are, even though there seems to be still a misunderstanding what the numbers are.
Sure.
But yes, again, happy to provide that. Again, it won't be exact, but it'll be a rough
I see.
number.
We can only do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I will not make that motion.
Do we
Dismiss that.
have a motion? An different motion?
I would move for recommendation number 1.
I'll second it.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Director Russo,
Aye.
Vice Chair Walsh,
Aye.
Chair Segovia,
No.
and Director Sala.
No.
Motion did not pass.
So that's 9.
Would you like to consider a different motion?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I've been kind of clear on
Yeah,
what I would like to see, which is number two, which is continuing with the final design, so we can get our house blueprints. We can have more information on where to go after that.
you don't actually have to make the motion because that already happens with the fact that the
Okay.
motion to cancel the project didn't pass. Then the previous direction continues.
Okay, what did you say?
By default, Councilman two.
Oh, okay, all right. So we're moving on to number two,
It's automatic, yes.
okay? All right,
So what's the final?
the first,
I count 3 ayes and 1 no.
There was two
No.
no's.
it was 2-2,
It's 2-2. The motion did not pass.
yeah. If,
Maybe and then 2 yes.
yeah, we had two yeses and
Well,
two
you know
noes.
what Rick's gonna say.
Well, it's,
So, I mean,
Rick,
Rick is not here. to
yeah, Rick
vote.
is not here, so we're not gonna vote on this item again.
all right, I'm done.
All right, so. All right, so we're moving on to comments and announcements. Do you have anything, David?
I have nothing.
Governing board members?
Sure.
Okay, Larry?
So can I understand then that number two takes us to the final design in about a year?
That's correct.
Anybody else? No? All right, I am going to adjourn this meeting at 6:06.